Hi, my name is Remi. Today I'm going to be talking you through our Untitled Trikonasana, so our extended triangle pose. The classification of this pose is an asymmetrical standing posture, aimed between sort of a beginner to an intermediate level, depending on variations and modifications you choose to take. Before we get into the alignment and the adjustment, I want to talk you through some of the benefits and contraindications of this pose. So the pose is really great for stimulating all of those abdominal organs. So the kidneys, intestines, pancreas, gallbladder, all of those organs really do kind of get a good toning and a good sort of movement in there. Really good for that digestive system, getting that flowing. It combats any physical issues such as osteoporosis or sciatica, although it should be practiced with caution and care, depending on how long you've had the pain for, how long you've been practicing yoga, and sort of the level that you're working at should all come into play when we're doing this pose. It's really great for helping calm any feelings of stress, anxiety, or nerves. And it's a great overall stretch for the body, especially into those hips, into the groin, the hamstrings, and further down into the calves. It's really good for giving all those a good stretch out. With the benefits come the contraindications. So anyone suffering from headaches, nausea, migraines, diarrhea should avoid this pose at all costs. Dependent on the person, if they're suffering from either low or high blood pressure, we say to try and find something a little bit more suitable, avoid this pose. It kind of is, basically the head is going to be down towards the floor, therefore the levels of blood pressure might be interrupted. It can also aggravate any neck or spinal issues. So although there are modifications and variations that you can do, such as not looking up to the sky but looking down towards the floor, if it's something quite serious, would say avoid this posture. Again, find something a little bit more suitable. So before we move into the physical aspect, I just want to talk you through really quickly the joint action, starting from the bottom and working our way up. So the ankle is going to be in a dorsiflexion position, okay? The knees are going to both be fully extended, nice and straight. Hips are going to be doing two different things. So depending on what side you choose to do your Trikonasana on today, we're going to go with the right leg. So the right hip is going to be in external rotation, but in a flexion position, okay? Because our hip and our leg are going to be coming together to sort of form that lateral fold, okay? Whereas the back one, the back hip is going to be fully rotated, but extended nice and long, in line with that back leg, all right? The spine is going to be in a nice neutral extension, and there is going to be a slight rotation towards the sky, but for the most part, a nice neutral spine is great. And the scapula and the shoulders, there's going to be an element of protraction and abduction in the shoulders, okay? So that creates that nice broad chest and nice flat back across the shoulders, and our elbows and our wrists are going to be extended nice and straight, fingertip to fingertip. Okay, so those are the joint actions. Coming into the alignment, all right? So we're going to start in a pre-pose. So sometimes if you're doing this pose and it's in a sequence, it may flow a little bit differently. So it could come from a downward facing dog or a plank position, but today we're just going to take it from a nice simple samasteti, just so we can really gauge our alignment on the mat, all right? Engagement in this posture is really important. So depending on what level you're practicing your yoga at, if you've just started, it may not be something you're familiar with. However, if you're a little bit more advanced in your practice, engaging both the Mula Bandha and the Uddiyana Bandha is really going to help in this position. So basically engaging of those stomach muscles, the root lock and the abdominal lock is really vital in this position. It creates that energy flow upwards in the body. So instead of the body sort of feeling heavy and fatigued, it activates that feeling of lightness in the body. It's really important to maintain normal breathing in this posture. So although you're going to be nice and engaged and nice and pulled up, you want to really maintain that nice simple breathing, and that will allow in turn the body to move nice and freely so you don't feel stuck in that position, okay? So let's start at the top of our mat. We're going to come into our samasteti, all right? So our feet are going to be together, everything is going to be nice and pulled up, so the knees are going to be extended. Our quads and our glutes are going to be engaged. We want to make sure here that we don't have any tilt in the hips, so no posterior tilt where the bottom is sticking out or anterior tilt where it's kind of tucked under. We just want a nice neutral position with everything just nice and tight and engaged. Pulling up the stomach muscles, chest nice and lifted, hands down by our side. We're going to come to face the side of our mat, so I'm going to take the right leg back here. We want to take that leg back around 3 to 4 feet apart on the mat. That can be a little bit difficult to gauge to start with, so I like to just take a little bit of time to find that correct alignment. The more narrow the legs are together, the harder the posture is going to be, because you're kind of having to take that body down towards the floor. So the more narrow the legs, sort of the more strong it's going to feel on the back of the hamstrings. Okay, so a nice wide stance. We want to take the right foot out to the side of our mat. What we want to make sure is that the heel of our right foot is actually in line with the arch of our back foot. Okay, so as we turn that foot out, just take a moment to really try and find that correct alignment there. Once we've found the alignment of the feet, we want to make sure that our hips are nice and square towards the front and we're not allowing sort of that internal rotation of that back hip, okay? You want to keep it nice and externally rotated. From here, we're going to take our arms up to the side, neck nice and long. We want to take a lateral fold of our body over our leg, okay? So what we're going to do is aim for our hand to reach either our shin, our foot, or if there is enough flexibility there, the outside edge of the foot on the floor, all right? So we're going to pull everything up nice and tight, and we're going to inhale, and on the exhale, we're going to take our body over to the side, finding that nice, straight, extended triangle. So again, the hand can come to the shin. If you feel you have enough flexibility, it can come down to the foot, or you can reach down the outside edge of the foot on the floor. If you're struggling with that, this is where the block comes into play. So our yoga block obviously has 3 levels, level 1, level 2 and level 3. So depending on flexibility, place the block on whichever level you find most suitable to you. What we want to do is place the block on the outside edge of the foot where the hand would go. That ensures that we keep that nice straight line in the chest and opening of the chest up to the ceiling. If we don't place it there and we place it on the inside, this can tend to happen where the shoulders sort of roll in and we get that roundness in the spine, and therefore our alignment is off. Okay, so by placing the block on the outside edge of the foot, it kind of creates the feeling of a pulling backwards, and we can find that correct alignment. Any problems with the neck, another modification would be just to take the gaze down to the foot. Okay, so it doesn't have to turn up towards the sky. It can stay down towards the foot and the hand. And if you're finding it really tricky in that front leg, on that hamstring and the groin, you can take a slight bend in the knee, just making sure that you still have that nice straight alignment. So it can take a little while to find, but once you have found it, it's a really lovely posture. That feeling of opening in the chest, pulling in the tummy muscles, holding for a few breaths, and then releasing to come all back up. And come back into the centre. So obviously that's exactly the same on the opposite side. again, just making sure that if you are struggling with any of the elements of the posture, to take the modifications, because the most important thing is the alignment. Once the alignment is achieved, then you can move on to progress in the posture. That's sort of generally how we get better. So I think that's everything. That is the breakdown for our Utthita Trikonasana, our extended triangle pose. Thank you very much.